Our second guest in our Healthy Mind session is Dermot Whelan. Dermot is a radio and TV presenter, comedian, public speaker and meditation expert. At the 2020 IMRO Radio Awards, Dermot won Best Music Programme and Best Music Presenter. He currently hosts the popular mid-morning Dermot and Dave Show on Ireland's largest independent national station, Today FM.
Woo.
As well as his media work, Dermot is a certified meditation teacher training in California, if you don't mind, with one of the world's leading experts in corporate stress management and meditation practice. You are extremely welcome, Dermot Whelan, to HealthFest 2021.
Thank you very much. I'm delighted to be on HealthFest 2021.
I mean, there was a little bit of discussion earlier on if I was going to mention Today FM or not, but I think we're all friends here.
We're all friends in the radio community.
Are we?
Except for the day the ratings come out and then our bosses say, why aren't you as good as those people? So.
And they're like, don't like their tweets.
Yeah, stop sharing their stuff.
Okay, well look, Dermot, I suppose people mainly would know you for having the crack, be it on radio, be it on TV, wherever. But you are a meditation advocate, but you haven't always been that way. So how did you get into it?
I got into it in the back of an ambulance.
Wow.
Yeah, no, in 2007, I decided that I would become a record holder for the only person to arrive into a comedy festival in an ambulance.
Right.
Yeah, now I've seen plenty leave in ambulances, but I decided I would arrive in.
Gotcha.
And I wasn't meant to arrive in. I was performing at the comedy festival. I'm a stand-up comic, and I was very excited to be there, but like a lot of people these days, I had a lot going on, and I was doing breakfast radio, which you know very well. You know, you have to get up at 4:30 or some horrible time that you actually didn't know existed before you do it. I had small babies at home, so I was starting a family, so that can be tiring too. I was doing telly at nighttime, and I was doing all kinds of other jobs. So basically, I just got burnt out, stressed out, and then I had something called a panic attack, which I had never had before. And basically, a panic attack is your body saying, you're not handling stress very well, so I'll take it from here. And it gives you a big shock that hopefully will wake you up and go, you need to manage stress a bit more. Because, you know, particularly for young people, you know, I never had any lessons in how to manage stress or how to know when I'm taking on too much. You know, what are the signs that I'm not getting enough rest? You know, all those things. Normally, you just see grown-ups in your life and they're, you know, opening a bottle of wine or going for a pint. And that's kind of stress management 101, you know, when you're growing up, because that's what the example being set around you is. So I was kind of like that. So I was probably drinking too much alcohol at the time as well. It certainly wasn't helping. So then I realized, you know what, there's got to be a better way to do these things. So quite by accident, I met a woman who was writing her book, and she wanted me to launch her book at her, MC her book launch. And I found out that she was a meditation teacher. Now, initially, I thought that meditation was for like hippie Californians, you know, who have dreadlocks and, you know, just have beads hanging down everywhere in their house and there's just a constant stink of incense off them. You know, that's what I thought. But we decided that, you know, we would do a barter. So the lovely author lady let me MC her book launch, and then she gave me a meditation lesson. And I quickly learned that it wasn't any of those things that I thought it was.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of, it's just a skill like you do, like if you don't feel physically well, you go to the gym. Meditation is something like if your mind is struggling a little bit, you have some tools that you can reach for, and that's basically it.
And around that time that you had the panic attack and you had so much going on, did you know you were stressed? Like, did you feel stressed and overwhelmed? Or was it a case of you were just trucking along thinking, this is normal, this is life, this is busyness, and then it hit you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I hadn't a clue. Because no one had talked to me about stress. No one talked to me about, well, how does your body react to stress? What's your body trying to do when you feel your heart racing, or you're not sleeping properly, or all those little things that you might notice because you just think, well, this is just part of life.
Yeah.
Exactly, Darren. And except, you know, I was unwittingly ignoring all the warning signs until basically my body said enough is enough, you know.
Yeah. But the point, you shouldn't let yourself get to that point is what you're...
No, and that's full-on crisis management.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
the great thing is about meditation and what I learned with some really, really simple breathing exercises, one of which I'd love to do with you today.
Yep.
You can turn off your stress response, you can bring your body back to normal, and then you can get on with doing all the things that you want to do without having to worry that you're hurting yourself, or taking on too much. I like to tell, show people the example, let's say a cockpit of an airplane. And you ever see in movies where, it's a disaster and the plane's going down and they're holding onto the handle and all the dials in the cockpit are going like, and they're going everywhere.
Yeah.
And then eventually they get it back on track and all the dials go back. But with a really simple breathing technique, you can reset all your own inner dials in your own mental cockpit. And it doesn't take much, like literally a few seconds of breathing can totally reset the trajectory of your day, whether you're 13 years old or 93 years old. We're all human, it's the same. And
the sort of science and research behind this, what would be the easiest way to explain that to our viewers? So that it's, it's 4th, 5th years, maybe they haven't read up on or heard about a whole lot of this. What is it that's going on in your body or in your brain when you have those moments of maybe anxiety or panic?
Absolutely. Look, I fell asleep in science class as well, so...
So did I.
Everything went over my head. But look, let me tell you about one scientific study that really stuck with me, okay? And it came out of Harvard, big university in the States. And they got 16 people who had never meditated before, okay? Probably like most of the people watching this right now. And they got them to do simple breathing exercises for less than half an hour a day for 8 weeks, okay? So they did it for 56 days, less than 2 months. And they did brain scans on all the people. Now remember, these were beginners, okay? These weren't monks up in the Himalayas with shaved heads and orange robes who were like busting out all kinds of kung fu moves. These were just regular people like everybody watching. All different ages as well. This is not age dependent. And when they scanned their brains at the end of the 2 months, they couldn't believe what they found because there were actual physical changes in every single person's brain in the study. The shape of their brain had changed. So there's a part of our brain called the amygdala. And that triggers our fight or flight response. So if anybody watching this has ever gone into an exam, okay, say you've got your Christmas exams, your summer exams, maybe you're doing your junior cert, your leaving cert, whatever it is, okay? You will know the feeling of fight or flight. That's the butterflies in the tummy, your heart is probably beating a bit faster, sweaty palms. If you've ever maybe competed in sport and you've got a big match for your school or whatever it is, that feeling, that racing heart, all that. That's fight or flight mode, and that's your body preparing you for a challenge, okay? Now, the part of our brain responsible for that is called the amygdala, and that is responsible for our fearful thoughts, our angry thoughts, our anxious thoughts. That part of you that keeps you awake at night worrying about something, that's your amygdala. When they looked at the brain scans of all these people who had meditated just a little bit every day, they found that that part of their brain had shrunk in size. So in less than 2 months, it was smaller. And they found, when they looked at the rest of the brain, they found that parts of their brain responsible for memory, for learning, for retaining information, for self-awareness, for confidence, those parts of their brain had all strengthened and grown. They become denser. So there was literally more brain in those parts than there was before. And they were beginners who did it for less than 2 months. So that was a massive thing for me because, someone who, even though I was a performer, I was struggling with anxiety and wasn't even aware of it. But I thought that, well, how can I continue to have the same anxious or fearful thoughts if the part of my brain that's producing them is actually disappearing? It's shrinking. So for me, that was a big one, and I thought, well, I want to know more. So that's why I decided to get into more of it.
You mentioned there about the fact that you're a performer. I think that's so important, and particularly at this age, because it's very easy to pigeonhole people. Maybe you're the quiet person in the class, you're the class clown, you're whatever it might be. And generally the louder or kind of more boisterous or, out there people are the ones you would least expect might need this. You know what I mean? Because I think, the fact that it's hard for people to fathom that you go on radio, national radio, every single day, have the absolute crack, but you also need to have those total zen. But you probably are the number one candidate for needing that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think people there's a weird stigma around that. And really? You need to put your gas.
Yeah, we all need it, no matter what you do. And I think particularly people who have that drive to sort of get up and perform in any way, or who want themselves to be seen. It doesn't mean that everyone's bulletproof or that those people are bulletproof. You know, and in school, I was so shy, even though I kept doing the school plays and, you know, finding any excuse to kind of get up and perform. I was known for being incredibly shy at the same time. And I was known for being a terrible blusher.
Oh, God,
so my friends used to just try and make me blush. I remember
the worst.
One day we were at assembly and there's like 400 of us in school in Limerick. And it was an Easter raffle. And the headmaster's up on the stage and he's pulling out the ticket for this big chocolate bunny. And he goes, ticket number 360. He was very posh. 365. And all my friends, just for the crack, walked away from me and started clapping. So I was standing there going, what's that? And every time I tried to get back into the crowd, they kept pushing me out. And they were like, yeah, he won. And I remember, like, the headmaster's like, come up, Mr. Whelan, and accept your prize. And I remember going so red that I went beyond red.
Purple.
Exactly. And I was, like, for days and weeks after that, I'd walk down the corridor and little first years would walk up towards me and go, there's your man who went purple.
Oh, no.
So I was known as the guy who I blushed and I sweated. And, you know, even though, you know, I wanted to get out there and perform, I was at the same time battling this incredible shyness, you know. Yeah. And that's my fight or flight mode, my amygdala that we spoke about, firing up and saying, there is a threat in your environment. We got to pump those stress hormones in. We got to, you know, make you perspire. We got to get that heart beating faster. You might have to, you know, to stand and fight or run away. Yeah. And it took till years later before I learned small techniques to just say to my internal emergency system, it's okay. Yeah. I've got this, you know, and that's what it is. You know, one great way of explaining it, you know, stress or anxiety or any of those things that people watching might be going through, whether it's all the time, some of the time, or rarely. Like, we all know smoke alarms, right? There's one in here. You know, wherever the people are watching this, there's probably a smoke alarm near them. We need that smoke alarm. They're really clever and necessary devices. They can literally save our lives. And it's the same with our emergency response in our brain. It literally saves our life. It stops us from walking in front of traffic or doing risky things. But the problem arises when we can't turn off that inner smoke alarm. You know, and we all know this, you know, how if an alarm is going off all day long, it can wear you down. Yeah. And also, you actually lose faith in that thing to protect you, its ability to protect you. So all that we do in meditation is that we learn techniques to turn off our inner smoke alarm. That's it. And even a few seconds of a break can reset everything, like that cockpit of the airplane.
Well, that's the perfect segue into our few seconds of a break. We're going to do a little bit of meditation.
Okay, yeah, great.
Can we do it?
Absolutely,
okay,
yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Now, before you think I'm going to be examining all your chakras and...
I got my crystals here in a bag. No, I don't.
Yeah, throwing my rune stones down and do my tarot cards. This is an exercise that's used by the military because, say, for soldiers who are trying to sleep in really challenging environments, they use these techniques to calm their nervous system. So even though this is a very short technique, what's going to happen in your body is that the level of your stress hormones, like cortisol and adrenaline, and those things that get your heart pumping, those levels will drop, okay? Yeah. Your heart rate's going to slow down, your blood pressure is going to lower down. And all those things are setting you into a mode out of fight or flight into a state called rest or digest, okay? And that's where we want our bodies and our minds to be, because that's when we're calm and ready to learn and ready to enjoy everything around us. So brilliant. This is called 16 seconds, okay? It was taught to me by my great teacher, a guy called David G. And it's also known as box breathing or square breathing, okay? So the idea is that we're going to breathe in to a count of 4. Then we're going to hold that breath in our bellies to a count of 4. Then we're going to let that go to a count of 4. And then we're going to hold that breath out to a count of 4. Okay? Maybe we'll do 2 of them just so we get the flow. All right? Okay, so wherever you are, get nice and comfortable. And take a nice, long, slow, deep breath in through your nose. Okay? What I'd love you to feel is that when you're breathing in through your nose, that you imagine the breath is going down into your belly. And so when you feel that breath go in, you can feel your belly rise. And then when you let the breath out, you can feel your belly fall again. Okay? So nice, long, slow, deep breath in through the nose. Hold it in the belly. Gently let that go. Okay, so we're going to do our 16 seconds now. Really good. So we're going to breathe in through the nose, and I'll do the counting. In through the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now hold that breath in your belly. Hold it there. 2, 3, 4. Gently letting that breath go out to a count of 4. 2, 3, 4. And then hold that breath out. Holding the breath out. 2, 3, 4. Let's do one more of those. In through the nose again. 2, 3, 4. Hold it in the belly. Really good. 2, 3, 4. Watching the breath go back out again. 2, 3, 4. Hold that breath out. 2, 3, 4. Now just breathing normally. So that's a 16-second meditation, okay? And remember, all we're trying to do is just turn off our inner alarm, trying to just reset our dials, bring our nervous system back on track. And when we do that, we activate all those parts of our brain that help us to be ready for learning, to feel empathy for other people, to have kinder thoughts towards ourselves, because that's a big one. Certainly for me and for a lot of people, it's that inner voice who's kind of just having a go at you the whole time. You should be more popular. You should be doing more. You should be working out more. You should be eating better. You should be getting higher grades, whatever it is. When we meditate, it's proven that we activate those empathy centers in our brain, which causes us to have kinder thoughts towards ourselves. And what that means is we turn down the volume on that little inner critical voice. So a simple exercise like that can really go a long way.
Big time. Okay, if there was one message you were to give to our viewers to, I suppose, entice them into meditation. No, just a pointer or a tip for someone who maybe never experimented with it before and you think it's something that could help them, what would you say to get started?
I would just simply say give it a try. It takes a very little exercise like that to have a big ripple effect into your day. All the science shows that when we do it every day, that's when we see the benefits. Just like that scientific study, those people did it every day for 8 weeks. If you forget, it doesn't matter, just start again. Don't beat yourself up. But it's that coming back to it every day is the important part, okay? Because that's when we see the actual benefits. If you wanted to get completely ripped, you wouldn't go to the gym just like twice in a month and expect to see massive results, To get a body like this, you need to... No, it's my mind that's ripped. Sorry, it's my mind. Try and do it every day. But even if you forget, if you've got a big event like an exam, or maybe you've got an interview, or maybe a performance of some kind, or maybe you're just socially shy and prone to go in purple like I always was, why not introduce one of those techniques just before you go out to meet somebody or have a conversation? So you could just try the 16 seconds and use it. And I guarantee you it'll do all the little jobs that you need it to do to get you into that right place.
Dermot, thank you so much. That was so accessible. It can be really overwhelming. The whole, I suppose, self-care, self-love space can be confusing. It's the same way nutrition can be confusing. There's a lot out there. So that was very concise, to the point, and very easy to understand. So thank you so much.
Great.
So if our viewers could tune into 2FM Breakfast and then maybe switch over to Today FM with Dermot.
Yeah, let's share the morning between us.
Why not? No shade to Ian. We love Ian.
Yeah, and everybody watching is like, we don't listen to the radio.
They're like,
what's radio?
They're like, okay, cool, Spotify it is.
Yeah.
Dermot Whelan, thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Darren.